Heart disease is America's #1 killer. But what causes it? Well, first doctors said it's cholesterol. And then we heard that only bad cholesterol was the problem. And now some leading cardiologists are changing their diagnosis again. Our Laurie Johnson has that story.
In the fight for better health, Americans view cholesterol as public enemy #1. Doctors tell us to stay away from food high in saturated fat like butter, eggs, and meat because it's responsible for heart disease. But what if that's wrong?
You know, cholesterol is found at the scene of the crime for heart disease, but it's not the perpetrator.
Cardiologist Stephen Sinatra and a growing number of physicians believe cholesterol does not cause heart disease. They point the finger at inflammation, which can be caused by eating too much sugar. Sinatra admits a small fraction of cholesterol is bad because it's inflammatory, but for the most part, it's good for you.
Cholesterol many times can be a gift in disguise, a higher cholesterol.
In his new book, The Great Cholesterol Myth, Sinatra explains that since half of all patients hospitalized for heart disease have high cholesterol, that means the other half have low cholesterol.
I was doing angiograms on people with cholesterols of 150, and they had far advanced heart disease. And the converse, I would do an angiogram on somebody with cholesterols of 280, and they had no heart disease.
Since high cholesterol gets the blame from most doctors, they prescribe cholesterol-lowering statin drugs to their patients with it. But Sinatra says only a small percentage actually need the drug. He only prescribes statins to middle-aged men with coronary heart disease, like Albert Tays.
Other than getting older, I'm not feeling any worse for wear.
Sinatra says a small percentage of women can also benefit from statins as an anti-inflammatory, not to lower cholesterol. But he says for many statin users, the risks outweigh the gains.
The side effects of statins are grossly underreported. I mean, grossly underreported.
Muscle pain and fatigue are two key complaints.
Doc, I can't get out of a chair anymore. I have weakness in my thighs. I can't play doubles tennis. I walk the dog and I'm vitally exhausted. These are statin side effects. However, a lot of the doctors or the patients think they're getting older. They're not getting older. These are statin side effects.
Patients over 70 are especially vulnerable.
They can't remember names. They can't remember where they put their glasses or keys. They forget sometimes who they are. If you do take a statin, it can actually bring on the onset of Alzheimer's disease by 15 years. So you got to be cautious with statins.
So while statins may or may not be right for you, one thing is certain. Reducing inflammation is good for your heart no matter who you are.
The best way to do that is cut back on sugar.
You know, cholesterol is sort of your friend. Sugar is your foe. It's the villain. It's your enemy.
Sugar damages arteries, increases blood pressure, and ages your organs. And we're not just talking about soda and candy, but also food that turns into sugar as soon as you eat it. Refined carbohydrates like white bread, white pasta, and white rice. 68-year-old Joan Jackson is living proof that a low-sugar diet improves your heart. At one point, she needed a heart transplant. But after changing her diet and lifestyle, Joan was taken off the transplant list.
I feel great. I'm not going to say I'm 16, but I feel great at my age. I feel I can do anything and accomplish anything I want to.
Her secret? Good old-fashioned self-control.
We have a tendency of saying, oh, I want that last piece of pie, or I'm going to have this piece of candy. But sometimes you have to say no.
Dr. Sinatra describes his healthiest patients as those who avoid sugar and refined carbohydrates and, get this, fill up on fats. He highly recommends unsaturated fats like nuts, avocados, fish, and olive oil. He even touts saturated fats like unprocessed meat and coconut oil.
Coconut oil is a saturated fat. Because it's a saturated fat, it's less prone to oxidation. So it really protects you.
But stay away from trans fat, which is man-made and added to most packaged foods.
I call trans fats unguided missiles that really cause enormous inflammation of blood vessels.
Remember to pay close attention to the ingredients in your food. The word hydrogenated is your red flag because that means trans fat. So while doctors may disagree about whether cholesterol causes heart disease, one thing is certain. If you go easy on sugar and trans fats, you're headed in the right direction.
Wonderful piece, Lori. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, 2 things I'd recommend to you. Get off of statins. I mean, I'm telling you, these things, somebody tried to get me to take Crestor, and I said, not a chance. So I did what I know to do healthy. Number 1, oat bran. Number 2, lecithin. And that will take down cholesterol if that is a problem. But Dr. Sinatra didn't seem to think it's a problem. Lori's with us here. Lori, that was a great piece. It was very interesting, but we intrigued. It's amazing these statins are deadly.
And you know, Dr. Sinatra, who, by the way, is related to Frank Sinatra.
Is he really? I was
really
wondering how many people with that name.
Don't you love that? You can tell he's from New York because he's got that great New York accent, and he's just so out there. He's so brazen. But anyway, he compares prescribing statins to bloodletting from 200 years ago because, you know, all the doctors, you know, the diseases were real, and all the doctors thought that was the treatment, but slowly but surely they all realized that was the wrong treatment.
You know, those ads, that guy, you know, I'm going to do this, but I'll trust my heart to Lipitor. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I heard a doctor that said that it was the greatest thing that ever been conceived of, and they all just put their, willy-nilly, all their patients. But to think of the side effects, I mean, erectile dysfunction is not fun for men to have.
That is no laughing matter.
No way.
it's no fun for the women either.
Okay.
But anyway, you know, just guess how many dollars worth of statins are sold every year by the pharmaceutical companies.
10 billion?
Keep going.
Come on.
Keep going.
20?
Keep going.
30?
There you go.
$30 billion?
Billion with a B.
Of these health killers?
Yeah, so I really highly recommend this book. Once again, it's called The Great Cholesterol Myth. It's only $10 on Amazon, and if you take a statin or if you love someone who does, it's worth reading because it's definitely food for thought.
You know, this is something they gave me the wrong kind.
That's me. I gave that to you.
Oh, well, I like ubiquinol, which is a little bit better CoQ10, ubiquinol. But in any event, CoQ10, because statins will take away CoQ10, which your heart needs to be healthy.
Right. I want to make sure that our viewers get a good look at this because CoQ10 is so wonderful. Our bodies make it naturally, and yeah, there you go. Our bodies make it naturally, and it's a vitamin-like substance that's wonderful. But as you said, statins reduce that. So if you're on a statin, you must take CoQ10. I know you disagree, but
no, I agree with CoQ10. I just take a better type. I take ubiquinol, which is a advanced form of CoQ10.
Okay, great. Then 200 milligrams of the CoQ10 if you're on a statin. For sure, take it 100 milligrams in the morning, 100 milligrams at night. But even those of us who are over 40 need to take CoQ10. I know it's shocking. I'm over 40.
Oh, I can't believe I thought you were 25.
I know. Close your mouth. But anyway, those of us over 40 need to at least take 50 milligrams of the CoQ10 every day because our body reduces its production of CoQ10 as we age. But, you know, aside from the cholesterol and the statin issue, which is controversial, the inflammation issue is not controversial. Yes. And this is something that I really feel that people are not getting the message. Inflammation is a killer. It's not just tied to heart disease, but also cancer, diabetes, autoimmune diseases. And, you know, we can reduce inflammation by cutting back on the amount of sugar we eat. Most Americans eat. Here we go, another pop quiz. How much sugar, how many pounds of sugar does the average American eat a year?
25 pounds.
You're way off. Keep
200
going.
pounds.
Not quite that much.
150 pounds.
156 on average. 156. 200 years ago, the average American ate 20 pounds of sugar. So folks, when you're at the grocery store, don't believe the stuff that you read on the front of the package where it says low sugar and trans fat free. A lot of that is actually misleading. What you want to do is you want to go straight for the list of ingredients and look for sugar, but there are other things that are sugars that are not called sugar, like, what's the big one? We've talked about it before.
Oh, go ahead. I know what you're thinking about. What?
High fructose corn syrup.
Oh, yeah. That's
Don't you love how I put you on the spot? Don't you know you do this to Terry and Christy?
That's my bête noire, if I can use that term.
So look for the high fructose corn syrup. Don't buy it. And with trans fats, don't buy food with trans fats in them. And what's the big watchword for trans fats?
I was blasting high fructose corn fat, and you talked to some people who said, well, they're the sugar. But, I mean, Dr. Sinatra isn't too keen on that, was he?
Whether it's sugar or whether it's high fructose corn syrup, whether it's concentrated fruit juice, whether it's maltose, dextrose, fructose, glucose, all those things are sugar. Okay. And if they're in the list of the ingredients, don't buy it. And then don't buy it if it has a trans fat. What's the key word for trans fat?
Hydrogenated.
Yay! You get a gold
Lori.
star. And the reason it's hydrogenated, a good way to remember hydrogenated, is that's an oil that has been infused with hydrogen. It is one molecule different from plastic. So I know God does not intend for us to eat plastic. We shouldn't be eating hydrogenated oils, trans fats.
I used to push sweet and low pretty much, and now they say that's a chemical that doesn't do you any good. So I'm into stevia. Stevia seems to be the natural sweetener that's so far that it... Don't tell me there's something that you found about stevia.
Don't get me started. Pete's giving me the rap signal.
Yeah, I got a rap.
But the bottom line is we don't need sugar. We definitely don't need trans fats. So cut back no matter what kind.
Well, and what it is, make my soup. And that has none of this bad stuff in it.
You know what I love about your soup? It takes a long time to eat.
Yes.
So that aids in weight loss because you can't gobble up soup like you can something else. And also, it's cheap.
Yes.
Cheap.
Yes. But delicious. Fresh vegetable. Laurie, you're terrific. Ladies and gentlemen, this book is called The Great Cholesterol Myth, and I presume you can get it where books are sold.
That's right. Only $10 on Amazon. I highly recommend it.
All right. It's dynamite. But you man, who needs erectile dysfunction from taking medicine your doctor
awfully focused
gives
on
you?
that one symptom. There are others too, like fatigue,
that'll get
muscle
men's attention.
aches, brain fog.
Yeah, this will focus like a laser. Laurie, God
such a
bless
guy.
You. All right. More after this. Stay tuned.
I'm not going there. Anyway, if you'd like to know more about the information that was shared today, we have a fact sheet for you that I think you're going to really love. It's called Cholesterol, Friend or Foe. You can get it by calling the toll-free number on your screen. There it is, 1-800-759-0700. Up next.